As a photographer, the dream is beautiful people, beautiful places, doing what you love every day. But nobody talks about defaulted payments or last minute cancellations in a month you thought was fully booked. So, in this video, I'll be sharing the parts of full time photography that never makes it to the highlight reel. The first part I have to talk about is the income instability. One minute you're fully booked, the next minute your calendar is like tumbleweeds, dry. It's like, where are the clients? Where have they all gone? Oh my gosh, I experienced this in just this December gone past. And I literally thought someone was against me. I was like, villages, where are these villages? What have I done to the villages? Because this has got to be like the handwork of the devil. So in December, I think I had about six. Yeah, I had about six bookings, which is quite good for the sort of clients I have because I tend to take 6 to 8 per month. And in December, I was taking off the last 2 weeks, so I was never going to have as many bookings. Anyway, one minute I had six bookings. The next thing on the first day, one call to say, oh, her husband may have COVID. She may not be able to come, but let her check herself. The next one was like, oh, I've just gotten like a hospital appointment. I can't make it anymore a day before. Another one was like, oh, I went out. I've caught like a flu or a bug. I can't make it anymore. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And they eventually cancelled. Of course, if you're running your business properly, you have your cancellation terms. So for me, if people cancel last minute, they definitely pay a cancellation fee because I've just lost income that I'm not going to be able to replace. So they all paid that. But I mean, when I think about what I would have earned in those days and for that month to like, meet my income goals, that was just terrible. And from a month where I was like, oh, I'm ending the year strong, December is gonna good month, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, down. But you know what? I actually made the best of it. So all the other two of the clients were gonna come to my studio, and one that was the most annoying one to be honest because there's a whole backstory. She didn't want to travel all the way to me in East London. So I was like, okay, I can actually book a different studio somewhere central where you can get quickly and then you can do the rest, whatever you want to do for the rest of the day. So I booked a studio, which means now it's costing me extra because she's no longer just coming to my studio. I'm booking a studio. And I tried to reschedule with the studio to like move it, but they're like, even if you move it, you still have to pay a fee. And from their end and point of view, I totally get it because it's last minute as well. And so I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to do a branding photo shoot for myself. So literally last minute, I spoke to my photography group. If you're not in the photography community, join one. Other photographers are amazing and supportive. And so I commented in that group. I was like, hey, anyone wants to do like a trade? I have this studio booked for, 3, 4 hours. Let's go in. I have a hair and makeup artist. You do my portraits, I do yours, and we walk away and edit our photos ourselves. That's what ended up happening. I'll put some of the photos from that branding photo shoot. But as you can see, what I'm trying to say is 1 month, I thought, I'll be meeting my income goals. And the next thing, I'm losing money and not making as much anymore. So yeah, being a full-time photographer, those are some of the things we have to deal with. So another thing people never talk to you about full-time photography is sort of like the emotional sort of, I don't know if I should say turmoil you go through and sort of like, working alone, being your own self-starter, being your own micromanager, having to be disciplined, not having HR, for example, to talk through certain issues or challenges with, not having someone to like, as they say, is it the hot water cooler or what's that phenomenon called where you go into, you're in the office, you go into the kitchen and you're making coffee or tea and you're having chit chat with colleagues. You have none of that. And so sometimes it can always, well, not always, but sometimes you can sort of feel lonely. You feel like you're in this game on your own. You have no partners, no players to help support you and bring the win, bring the game home. And yeah, and then sometimes you have those self-doubts. Are you doing well? Could you improve in your business? Could you have a better client experience? Should you change this change? There's just no like colleagues to bounce off of, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So in that regards, yeah, it does get lonely. And then when maybe self-doubt starts to creep in, you're just like, this thing I'm even doing, is it making an impact at all? Is there a point of me doing this photography? Does anyone care at all? Should I be doing something else with my life? Having like a midlife crisis, yeah, we all go through it. That's something we don't talk much about. Another part of being a full-time photographer no one talks about is managing demanding clients. Yeah. So thankfully, I would say 99.5 of my clients are actually amazing and everything goes well. But that 0.5, oh my gosh, that would message you, oh, I want to clarify this, I want to clarify that. And before you know, you're going through what you've gone through already. And now they're claiming, oh, they didn't understand. Oh, oh my gosh. Or you have the ones where they're trying to like, there are different personalities you come across. So thankfully, I've not had this sort of personality a lot. But the ones who are like control freaks, and so they have to control every situation and every little detail. And I'm thinking at the end of the day, you came to me, I'm the professional. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for years. I've been doing this with hundreds of clients. Take your feet off the pedal and relax. Baby, relax. You're here to relax and for me to do the work and the heavy lifting. But yeah, there are just some clients that just want to like monitor everything down to the album design. I had once literally, this page I want this page I want that. I'm just like, designing the album is actually part of my process. But at some point I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna let her do what she wants so she's happy at the end of the day, which she was, but oh my gosh, that personality type was, yeah, challenging to deal with. And then another thing in terms of managing challenging clients is also knowing when to say no, when to stick to your policy, when not to do, oh, out of a gesture of goodwill. So there's always that I do because I'm a recovering people pleaser. I know, I know. I hate to say no. I hate to turn someone away because I start to feel bad or I start to feel guilty that, oh, I should have just done it. I should have pushed myself. But when running a business, sometimes you just have to put your big girl knickers on and be like, I'm sorry, this is my policy. That's not gonna happen. And sometimes, I mean, you don't have to say yes to every client. Sometimes there's some clients that is just not a good fit. And so, yeah, even though, yeah, you would like to make money for your business, you just know it's gonna be a headache in the long run. So just let them go. As they say in our industry, bless and release. So I actually had someone a couple of months ago who wanted to do a session with me and she had booked in. And then a couple of days down the line, she sends an email saying, oh, I actually just resigned from my company. And she was talking about some other things that had to do with her session. And I was saying to myself, babes, like, why did you book a session 2 days ago with me when I'm sure you're already thinking of resigning? And just because of what I know, having been doing this for years, I'm just like, I don't want wahala. I don't want stories when it comes to paying me my money. So I actually asked her, I was like, look, I mean, I totally get you've just resigned for whatever reasons. Do you think you're still in a financial position to carry on with this photo shoot? Because it is an investment. And she probably hadn't thought about it herself. And she came back, I was like, yeah, you know what you're saying is right. I think I'll put a pause for now. When I'm a bit more stable in the future, I'll get back to you. I really love to work with you. But yeah, this period now. And I was like, yeah. I just gave her an easy out because it's better for me to put a pause in this and she can come back to me when she's gotten a new job and she's happy and in a better space than trying to keep her on and then months down the line when her session is coming and if she's still not in a good place, she's panicking, she's stressed, and it just becomes a disaster. So yeah, so it's sort of knowing when to stick to your boundaries, knowing when to say no, and knowing how to like deal with different personalities. Another part that is often not talked about is building predictable revenue. And, we're all about the creativity of photography, but you also have to figure out how to create things in your business that enables you to keep on going even in the small months. Like I said, December was like turned out to be an awful month, even though it was leading up to be a good month. And what helped me, my sort of like pricing and collection helps me and gives me that buffer because my pricing is not just based on how many hours a client client works with me. It's fully based on what it takes to actually run a profitable and sustainable business across the year. And so I've created pricing collections and packages. That means that even in months that maybe I fall ill, or months that I have to take off, or months that are slow, money is still coming in. And so one of the things I have in my business is providing interest-free payment plans for clients. And so like I said, photography is a business. I'm on the high-end scale, and not everyone just has those thousands of pounds sitting in their bank account. And so by paying in monthly installments, it means that in months where things are slow and I'm not having clients paying me that month, I have several payment plans running across the months, and that month I'm able to pay my bills, I'm able to pay myself, I'm able to continue running my business. One of the other things I used to inject cash flow into my business is creating some offers. So the offers could be for past clients, or the offers could be seasonal. So for example, I tend to like share this with the photography groups I'm in. Like in the springtime, there's something I often say, a spring clean. And so I reach out to past clients whose photos are just sitting on my hard drive, the ones they didn't purchase. And I'm like, well, why is this gathering dust on my hard drive? So I present to them a sale, like if you'd like to purchase more photos or the full collection that you left behind previously, you can get it for like 50% off, or if you get the full collection, you can get it at this price. And I always have people like take me up on this offer. So before you know it, I just have that cash injection coming into my business. And so if you're wondering a bit more about my pricing strategy, you definitely want to check out my pricing for profit guide. It's down in the description box, so you can check it out and download it. So another part of full-time photography that is not often talked about is financial planning and, cash flow projection. So you don't just want to like spend everything you get in every month. Like for me, for example, I do have spaces in my business account. One I set aside for VAT, and the other I set aside for my corporation tax. And so that means I'm never having to run around once, the year ends, trying to like pay this money, or quarterly for the VAT. Automatically at the end of every month, actually the first of the month, because I wait for all the transactions to run in that month, I just have a spreadsheet. I do my calculations, what's the VAT depending on the income that came in, I move that into the space, and then I take away my cost and take away my salary. And so between that and the cost of running the business that month, I do the difference, and then I do this percentage for corporation tax and move that into that spaces as well. So that way I'm never going to default or start looking for how to pay HMRC, because that's set aside. So this is something you definitely have to think about if you want to run a business that lasts. And also, like I said, I do have clients on payment plans, and when a client is on a payment plan, I actually don't deliver the image of the product until they've paid in full, because look, I'm a small business. I don't have the money to be like signing away people's defaults and people's debts, right? And I don't have the energy or the capacity to be chasing people up and down for money because they've already gotten their product. Yeah, and so because of that, I always have, that incoming flow of money. I have like a spreadsheet as well where I track, who has done a payment plan, how much remains in their plan, how much are they paying monthly, and have they paid monthly. These are things you have to track. You have to be on it if you want to run a sustainable business. Your passion and your talent for photography is not going to sustain you alone. All of these systems and all of this like hard work, I have to say, does matter, and you do have to implement them if you're serious about growing a full-time photography business. So there you have it. I hope some of these things I've shared has given you an insight into some of the behind the scenes of running a full-time photography business that is often not talked about on social media or made a highlight, right? If you enjoyed this video, I know you'll find this one useful and insightful, where I share a day in my life as a boudoir photographer. That's it for this video, and until next time, remember, you don't have to be a struggling artist.